Hello. I know it has been about a year, if not exactly a year, since I last posted a video, but I figured it was time for an update on how my body is doing, how I've been healing since phalloplasty, and how my life is going. Living and enjoying the results of surgery, as well as where I'm kind of at in my transition now. So I guess hello to those of you who have stuck around, even though I've not really been posting anything. I appreciate it, and I constantly think about making videos again, and I just haven't really gotten around to it. So yeah, a few kind of medical updates, I guess. I am over 2 years post-op, stage 1 phalloplasty. So I have the creation of the phallus. I had the vaginectomy, as well as kind of a creation of the scrotum area, but I haven't had any implants or anything, so it literally is just kind of empty sacks of skin. Glandsplasty was all done in stage 1 as well. So yeah, if you've watched my previous videos, this will not be news to you, though the news that it's still continuing may be interesting. In stage 1, something happened, and I guess the old hole, the vaginectomy site, didn't entirely close, I guess, because I still pee out of that area. I am peeing out of the created urethra that is coming out of the scrotum area. So basically, there's the phallus. I have the empty flaps of scrotum skin, and right in the center is a hole that they created for me to pee out of until I hook up the urethra through the phallus. Though I had some issues, and for some reason the vaginectomy site didn't really close entirely, and there's also urine coming out of there. That's been happening since I had surgery, since I had stage 1, and it has continued to happen. It no longer hurts. It stopped hurting maybe 7 or 8 months after. You can go back and watch my videos to find out exactly when I said it stopped hurting to pee, but it took a long time. It hasn't hurt in well over a year now to pee, but there is still urine coming out of there, and I've also mentioned as well that when I'm aroused, it gets still very wet from that area, and so my assumption is that the vaginectomy site didn't entirely close. When I was told that it should close up on its own within a few weeks after surgery. So that's something I'm still dealing with. And then I have mentioned the stuff that's coming out of the tip of the phallus. It's kind of a white, gooey, gross substance that I described as kind of like toe jam in one of my videos. And I was exactly almost right. I spoke to the surgeon about it recently, and she just said, it's dry skin, your skin flakes off and collects, and inside the phallus is this created, hole, this tube, basically, that skin is still flaking off inside. And so since there's nothing going through the phallus right now, it just kind of builds up and, comes to the top, and I just clean it out. But yeah, so it's nothing to be super concerned about, which is good. But yeah, my arm is, if you saw earlier, photos or my earlier videos, it's pretty faded in comparison to what it used to be, but you can see very distinctly still the kind of overhang. I have a lot of issues with swelling in my hand. You can see the difference in color almost. You can see the difference in how thick my left hand is compared to my right hand. This is an ongoing issue. Now, to be fair, I haven't gone to any physiotherapy or anything for this. I really, should. COVID has, done what it's done for that and my, ability to access things. But it is something I really should look into because I want to find some strategies to, be able to do push-ups again or just be able to use my hand, because I literally, in sitting down on the floor here, used my hand to like help me get onto the floor, and it hurts to do that. And so, I'm going to, at this rate, spend the rest of my life in some sort of pain from in my hand, my arm, my wrist. It doesn't hurt on a daily basis. It's still quite tight. I feel the tightness. And I'm sure that, when I live 5, 10, 15 more years with this scar, it'll become more background noise, that tightness. But the pain is something that is difficult to deal with because, simple functions of like carrying something heavy or whatever, like immediately my hand gets really red, and depending on how much lifting I'm doing, my hand will get very swollen. And that happened to me actually a few months ago, maybe 3 months ago. I don't know what I did. I must have leaned on my arm too long or something, and my hand swelled up to the point that it was swollen after surgery, and it hasn't swollen up that much since surgery. And it stayed swollen like that for over a week. I couldn't get the fluid to go down. I was massaging it. I was icing it. I was doing everything I could. I literally slept with my arm in an upward position. I spent the whole day with my arm up and elevated, above my heart to try and get the blood flowing properly and get the fluid to go down. And it just took a long time, and that was scary and that was painful. And it, just stuff like that, I made this decision to have this operation, and I'm happy with the results, but there are still ongoing things that I will live with forever. And those, consequences that, when people talk about the scar, a lot of times it's a visual aesthetic thing. Like, I don't want my arm to look like that, but not many people actually talk about the, physical implications. And, not everybody has the hand issue, but for me, like, there's a very small channel of non-scar right there. Everything else is this really tight, thing. So the scar itself doesn't bother me. I think it looks cool. I don't mind it. Nobody knows what it's for, so it doesn't bother me that it's there. I think that it is what it is, though I will say that there was a period of time, probably 4 or 5 months ago, that, I don't know, I was just in the shower, and the hair on this arm, when it gets wet, obviously it's very dark. And, I looked at it and I was like, oh man, my arm hair is so dark and there's so much of it. And then, I looked at this arm and there's no hair there anymore. And it just kind of was a moment of like, oh yeah, this one's different. And that's really, that feeling again of like, okay, I made this decision. My arm will never look like this again. But yeah, it's just those like little moments, I think. But yeah, so I'm 2 years post-op phalloplasty. I've been on T for 7 years now, because in February, it was February 18th, as of then. 7 years on testosterone, 4 of which were on shots, 2 on gel, and 1 on patches, which is my next news, is that I switched to androderm patches about a year ago. The gel was causing me a lot of problems with my eczema on my hands, and it was becoming a pain. I hated it. It took like 10 minutes to apply every day, and I just was getting fed up with it, so I decided to switch to the patches, which look like this. If you would like me to discuss my experiences with the 3 different types of testosterone I have taken, I am happy to do that. I have examples of all of them. I kept my vials, and I also have my pump that I used to use. It's an empty one now, but I kept one of them around as a demo. So if you would like a video talking about my experiences with the various types of testosterone I've been on over the past 7 years, I'm happy to do that. Just let me know. I had my hysterectomy 5 years ago, as of I think yesterday. It was early. It was like April 5th, I think, that I had my hysterectomy 5 years ago. And I'm about 5.5-ish years post-op for top surgery as well. So, all of these different milestones keep passing, and I just keep thinking like, wow, on one hand, it feels like, oh, it was just yesterday. On the other hand, it feels like a lifetime ago. And brings me to my next point about phalloplasty and where I go from here. I've had stage 1, like I mentioned. Stage 2 is supposed to be the urethral hookup so that I can pee standing up. And then stages 3 and 4 are implants, testicular and erectile implants. I have been thinking a lot over the past couple of years since stage 1 about what I want and what I need. And I keep, going back and forth, and I kept delaying talking about it with anybody. But I got to a point, just before 2 years post-op, I think, when I realized how scared I was of having surgery again. I acknowledged what I went through in stage 1 and what I need and want for the future, and what another surgery would mean for me emotionally, physically. I kept getting more and more scared about it, about the prospect of having another surgery and having another genital surgery. And so I basically called the clinic and I spoke to the surgeon. I made an appointment to speak to the surgeon about what the urethral hookup entails, because I just kept hearing horrible things. I kept hearing about complications, and I kept hearing, seeing people talking about all the various surgeries that had to keep having to correct issues. And I was thinking about stage 1 and my experience, and I don't regret it, but I never want to do that again. I never, ever, I came out of that feeling horribly scared and in pain, and it took so long to heal to where I am now. And and to feel normal and feel okay again, it took so long. And I think I've gotten to a point where I don't want to experience that again. And so I called and spoke to the surgeon, asked all the questions I needed to ask. And, after the call, I had kind of been like, I was in a good mood, and I went like, okay, this sounds doable. This sounds realistic for me. This sounds good. It sounds like what I want and what I need. And then it, took about a week or 2 weeks for me to realize that, or for it to settle in again, the fear and the anxiety about it, and the doubts that I was having. But at least this time I have the answers. Before, I was literally, for almost 2 years, swimming in my own doubt and fear, and pain, but without like the knowledge of what the surgery actually entailed. So now I have the answers that I was looking for, and now I can make a more informed decision about what's right for me. And I think I have gotten to the point where I have accepted and acknowledged that further phalloplasty stages would not be beneficial for me. I have always wanted to pee standing up. I've always dreamed of that. That was a big piece of having phalloplasty for me, was to be able to pee standing up. But I am starting to realize that I don't think that is a reality for me. I am thinking about the complications I've experienced from stage 1 in terms of peeing. And I'm thinking about taking into account other people's experiences with fistulas and strictures and further surgery to try and correct those things. I'm thinking about, what it is that I need. And I don't think that I am going to be able to handle emotionally if something goes wrong. I am at a point where my body has been through so much. I have had so many surgeries now, trans-related surgeries, that I am so thankful to have had. They've improved my life dramatically. I am so grateful, and I acknowledge the struggle that I've put myself through emotionally and physically through my medical transition. And I'm just so thankful that I'm here and that I'm able to live my life now, and that my body is healed in the way that it has. And it's given me so much freedom. And I think I'm at the point now where I'm ready to move on and live and enjoy the fruits of all my labor, my time, my money, my anxiety, my stress, my pain, all of those things. I'm ready to enjoy them now, rather than sign up for years more of surgery. That being said, I do think that I will be reaching out to Montreal, or I will be reaching out to Montreal, but I do hope and think that I will go back as long as it's covered financially and doable surgery-wise, to have the issues I've experienced from stage 1 corrected. I would like the extra vaginectomy area to be permanently closed properly, and I would also, if it's doable, to have a revision on the glandsplasty, because half of it kind of fell off. It kind of scabbed and fell off after stage 1. Not the end of the world. If it's not doable or whatever, then I'm fine with it, but I feel like if I'm going back anyway to have a different thing corrected, I might as well give it another shot and see if I can get the glands to, be all the way around. But, and I know that that's another surgery, but I think that for me, that seems less of a risk of, and to me feels worth it to go in and have those things corrected, rather than, continue forward with further surgeries that will have further complications. Not to say that trying to fix these problems will not have complications, but I think that in order for me to be happy and move forward, that ideally these issues will be corrected so that I can just move on. In terms of peeing standing up, I've always been able to pee standing up. It just takes a bit more maneuvering because of the equipment that I have. I can't just whip something out and pee. I have to pull my pants all the way down, and I have to kind of lean my pelvis forward. But I can pee standing up. And a part of me, I have used a urinal without an STP. I have access to a urinal. Not all the time, but I had an opportunity to have access to a building where I was in there alone, and I knew there was a bathroom that nobody else would have access to that had a urinal, and I was able to pee standing up in the urinal with no STP. Again, maneuvering my pelvis a bit forward, and obviously my pants had to be all the way down, which is why I can't do that when there's other people in the bathroom. But I had the opportunity to try it to see if it was doable, and I can do it. But yeah, I did it, and it's, it would be great to be able to do that every day, and just to be able to do that. But I finished up, I did it about 3 times over the course of a few days. And, a part of me was like, yeah, that was fun, that was thrilling, that was great, that was something I've always wanted to do, but is it worth all the pain, catheter, healing, potential other surgeries? And I just went, you know what, I don't think it is. I just don't know that it is for me. And shifting my priorities, I mean, I started looking up urinals online of how much they cost to install a home urinal, and I have a dream of building my own house one day. I love to design things, and I've been saving my money, so that I can hopefully realize that dream. And who's to say that I can't install a urinal in my own house? So maybe my priorities have shifted from being able to pee standing up through a penis to buying my own urinal and installing it in my own house so that I can use it how I need to use it, and that'll be what it is. Because, I pee standing up at home anyway in the toilet, and I pee standing up in the toilet in public too. I just, again, have to pull my pants all the way down. But with this closed stall, I mean, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so I feel like I can pee standing up. I just pee standing up differently than other people do. And I don't want to jeopardize that by trying to modify things even more. And yeah, in terms of implants have been something I've been super skeptical of this whole time. Ever since I decided on bottom surgery and phalloplasty, I've been scared about implants. I do not want a foreign object in my body. That's just not something that I would like to willingly sign up for. The prospect of rejection of the implants, also the knowledge that at some point in my life they will have to be replaced or removed. Again, that's signing up for another surgery, and I'm just not down for that. I don't have any interest in that. So I've been looking at alternatives to the erectile implant, being external stuff. So I will certainly be making a video on external erectile devices once I, have my hands on them and I'm able to play around and figure things out. But certainly that'll be something I'll be talking about more in depth separately. But that's where I'm at, phalloplasty-wise. I am thanking my body for the healing it's done for me, thanking myself for getting to this point, and now I'm in counseling to deal with and process all of the things that happened during the healing process, because that was something that, I've really not acknowledged over the past couple of years, is how scared I was and how badly not getting help earlier has impacted my mental health and my ability to, process what happened. And I'm not trying to be dramatic or anything. Phalloplasty was terrifying. I didn't know what I was getting into, and I just keep, I get flashbacks of the healing process, and I'll have dreams that I'm back in the hospital and I'm, my arm or the phallus or all the blood or the smell or all of those things that I didn't deal with, and I just kept pushing back because I was trying to be happy about the results. They kind of, they bubble up and they take hold of you, and I have decided that I don't want to be a slave to my fear anymore. And I think that that's where I've come to peace with my decision to not go forward with other surgeries. Is before it was just plain old fear of, I don't ever want to have surgery again. That was terrifying. I don't ever want to go through it again. I don't want to go back there and relive those moments. To, I now understand what the surgery entails. I understand that I was scared, and now I'm making an informed decision that I think that this is where my medical transition ends. And it doesn't mean I can't go back and do these things in the future, but for right now, I feel blessed, I feel happy, I feel whole. And I feel like now I get to acknowledge and thank myself for the journey I've been on. I've been doing a lot of self-reflection and looking back on my transition and back on my life in general and just appreciating everything I've gone through to get to this point where I have, a job that I love. I'm looking forward to the future that doesn't have to do with surgery. I spent so many years just waiting for the next surgery and doing the next thing for my medical transition, and now I'm at a point where I can actually, have other goals and other things going on, and like that's made me happy, and that's what's bringing me joy, in conjunction with enjoying the way my body is now and appreciating it and loving it and being happy about it. That's like intertwined with the other things of my life that are non-transition related, that are bringing me joy and happiness and peace. So yeah, I just feel good about myself and my journey, and I will probably make a whole separate video about coming out, because I have started coming out to people in my life at work, and I'm going to start working on some of the friends that I've had for years who have no idea that I'm trans. All of these people in my life that have had zero clue, that I've known for years now, and how that has affected my relationship with people and how I interact with people. And I think I'll make a separate video talking about that. But anyway, this was kind of a mismatch of things, but I hope that you enjoyed. If you have any questions, let me know. I would be happy to make a video or happy to just respond to the comments, depending on what you want to know. But yeah, if you have topics you would like me to discuss or anything, like I said, I could make a video talking about my experience with the different types of testosterone. I can make, if there's topics I've talked about in the past, like if you just want various, opinions, updated opinions on, coming out, or I don't know, I can't think of anything off the top of my head right now, but, more discussion kind of videos, just let me know. I am happy to discuss things. I made a video, which I think it's almost been 5 years now, about, my 5-year plan. Somebody had asked me to make a video about what I see for myself 5 years in the future. And I think that's coming up, if not already past my 5-year point from making that video. So maybe I'll do an update to that, talk about where I am now in relation to where I was then and what my goals were, and how I'm feeling moving forward. So yeah, a few things on the horizon, I guess. But yeah, despite the rather heavy kind of topic of this video, I feel at peace, and I feel excited for the future, and I feel grateful and happy, and like just so much hope, I guess. And it's not related to being excited about surgery or excited about medical transition. It's just like excited about life. And I think that is a feeling that I just went so long without, that these past 2 years since having phalloplasty have really kind of dove into life head first and just really appreciated the world around me, and being able to appreciate the world around me, because now my body feels more aligned with who I am and what I need from it. But yeah, thank you for watching.